Greetings everyone! Today on the bench is this Toshiba boombox. It's a Toshiba RT100S AM/FM stereo radio cassette recorder. Kind of like these basic ones that don't have a lot of controls. It's just less to go wrong with them. Besides the cassette transport mechanism controls down here, there's just 5 controls: tone, volume, mode, function, and tuning. And it doesn't have a whole bunch of glittery lights. It just has your 3 lights right here for the battery, AM or FM stereo, and tuning. Here is the cassette, and by the way, the cassette door is not orangey, it's just reflecting off my shirt. You can see if I move it, it's silver like the rest of the unit. And looking closer here at the controls, if I can get a tighter focus there. So we have our basic tone control, and the volume seems to have a built-in loudness function, and they're indicating where that's active during about the first half of the volume control travel. And the air conditioner just turned on, but I'm just going to keep going. Mode, we have mono stereo and stereo wide. I was never real fond of stereo wide because it really made the music sound different. And of course your typical radio off, tape, AM and FM. And of course your tuning control here. The speakers, I'm going to say they're 5-inch. What would that be? About 12 millimeters. On the back, we have auxiliary and mic inputs. What's lacking though are external speakers. I always like to have external speaker connectors. We have the FM antenna here, which is in good shape. AC power, and looks like we had some leakage going on here, but only on the center area there, so it doesn't look like it affected the contacts, or hopefully didn't get in and damage the circuit board. There's a close-up of the tag. Notice that there at the bottom it says Made in Japan. Okay, so what I'll do is I need to find a cord. I have a box full of cords. I should be able to find one that works. And we'll give this thing a whirl. Okay, so I found a cord, plugged it in. Let's give this thing a whirl here. Now I have to handhold the camera because my little bench tripod is just, it's too close. So I'll just have to handhold. What's going on here?
Time because the Republican won.
Really? AM has some music around here? Okay.
Getting LeBron for the home team here. He's going to run this town, essentially. 41 nights. It's going to be incredible.
Oh, it's going to be awesome.
The tuning light works on AM. I know sometimes on some radios the tuning indicator works only on FM.
I'm there, and there's other people that are there that are, that would seem sort of weird. How do you keep the creeps out? Because there's a lot of weird people out there.
Well, you just have to everybody.
Seems to have pretty good fidelity. And it's got decent highs, and, well, really haven't played a lot of bass music yet, but I mean, for the speaker size configuration, it sounds pretty good.
Wrestler. Okay, so I had it right partially, half the time. You're the owner of this. Did you start this deal? Did you acquire it? Are you a nudist? I have many questions.
People can get slapped for the party. Get more tickets. No, I don't care.
You can add on to that Mickey.
Right. Scratch sauce from the Dale Freight. I'm Pete. 104.7 TUE.
I got my first real six string. Bought it at the
199.
16.
It's the Joe sales event now at Macca's Nissan. They're celebrating big with explosive savings on their...
Would help to have it in stereo for FM.
Yes, lease a 2018 Nissan Rogue.
Furniture purchase of 9.
Teach, I'm listening. I want to figure out where you're at work and I want to join you. Teach.
Nonsense. Bubble wrap, moving blankets, packing tape, all in one place. Moving is stressful enough. Getting what you need in one trip shouldn't be. Make your first move to the
Not sure how it comes over, but I'm getting most of the sound out of the left speaker only. When I jiggle this function control, I can hear this speaker cut in and out, so yeah, I think this switch note needs some spray.
Perfect time to grab an ice cold Coca-Cola, Coke Zero Sugar, or Coke Life for a buddy. Started with that cover band.
FM's pretty tinny as well. AM had a lot more lower bass into it, so maybe the switch could use some contact cleaner. Let me squirt these switches here and come back. I gave it a shot of my Radio Shack contact control cleaner and lubricant, and it has really helped. Yeah, I really can't tell any difference between stereo and stereo wide. Usually there's a more wide effect, I guess you could say, to the sound, but I don't hear any difference. Maybe it works with tape, I don't know, but it certainly doesn't make any difference. I mean, I can tell it is a stereo signal, and it sounds stereo in stereo mode, but I'm just not getting that stereo wide effect. At any rate,
0.9.
we can try the tape next. I guess all in all, I would hope for a little bit more bass. It sounded good on AM with the voices, but FM with the music, it sounds like it's lacking a little bit of bass. Okay, so this is the tape. It's not a soft eject. I'm just going to hit play here. See if there's any movement. Nope. Nothing. Push it by hand. Nope, it doesn't want to turn at all. Probably needs a set of belts, but the tape does not work at all. Well, I guess next we can pop the cover and check out on the inside. And we're in. And this is the first one I've seen like this where the front comes off and the speakers are just sitting in there, like when you put the front on, the front holds the speakers down. There's kind of like a little rubber pad in there. So yeah, that's an interesting way of doing it. Here is the circuit board. That's the radio section. Not a lot to it. Mostly integrated circuits at this point in time. Missing components, probably for a higher end model. They designed it so they could just add components and use the same basic board, save on costs. And look how deep the function switch goes. So I went ahead and squirted it again to make sure I get all the magical contact juice deep inside the switch. There's the play record switch, that big long unit right there. So I squirted that as well. Clean the volume controls. There's the heat sink for the amplifier chip. Completely blocked. I can't see that number. It's probably a Toshiba part. Even a Hitachi or Sanyo. Seems what they used in these boom boxes. And the player unit, because you access from the front, I'll have to take this out. But it's all pretty modular. It plugs right in. There's another connector back there, and remove a few screws and it should come out. Let's check out the speaker real quick. 2 watts, 3.2 ohms. If you're wondering why they use such low impedance speakers, sometimes you'll see 4 ohms, 3 ohms, or even 2.8 ohms, something like that. Because these run on batteries, so the amplifier gets a limited supply voltage. So in order to allow the boombox to play loudly, they reduce the impedance so you can get more power from it that way. Oh, one thing I noticed, it does have microphones, built-in microphones. I didn't notice anything on the front. Let's see here. Where in the heck are the microphone ports? And looky here, this is the tuning dial. So the port is underneath the tuning dial. And here's the other port in relation to the headphone jack. So I go, where the heck is the port? Or if you hold this up to the light, you can see right there, that little hole. And under the tuning knob, when that's installed, there's the other microphone port. That's kind of wild. Usually they have them labeled clearly that there's a microphone port there. So, well, that's just the way they did it on this one. Okay, so I got the cassette mechanism removed. All I had to do is unplug these 2 connectors, remove 2 screws. The 3rd screw was already out. It was dual purpose to hold the cover on and of course the mechanism in. So now there's a big empty space there. You can see the board a little more clearly. And yep, it has one of those belts that melt into a weird goo. See if I can focus up on that. If you get too close, it doesn't focus. But yeah, there's like part of this belt here. It just melts into a goo, like depolymerizes or something. I think it's made out of a polyurethane compound. For some reason, polyurethanes, at least some types, are not stable over time and they break down. Some types surrounds on speakers cones, not these of course, but like woofers, have that foam. It's a polyurethane material and it breaks down over time and that foam starts breaking up. If you own a film SLR camera You might have noticed that the foam light seals around the film chamber, and where in the front where the mirror comes up, there's like a little foam pad. Sometimes those will break down. And I believe 3M, the 3M company, they made those little stick-on pads, and they had a problem with those things just breaking down and turning into a liquid. And I think they were involved in a lawsuit over that. So yeah, it's something with polyurethane. It's unstable material, and it breaks down. But at any rate, what I'm going to do is going to have to find a belt for this and continue on with the video and put this thing back together. That seems to be the only belt in this unit. I did spin the flywheel and check play, fast forward, and rewind and make sure the little sprocket drives there had enough tension for moving the tape. No use repairing this and find that those are not working. But those are working okay, so all I have to do is just put a belt on there and this thing should be good to go. Now just one last tip here before I break for the belt is to keep from losing the parts, I just put them all in a little baggie. Sometimes I use magnets to hold the screws. But yeah, you'll come back later and wonder where all the parts went. That's just a little tip that I use to keep everything together. Well, back again after about a week, but through the magic of video editing, it seems like it just happened. Well, I went on eBay and ordered this belt kit. My brother has a bunch of other cassette players that are pretty old. He collects and hoards the things, so might make interesting videos to repair them. So I got a bunch of these belts. This is a square type cross-section belt, which is what this thing had. But what I need to do now is clean that gooey, sticky belt off the parts. It's stuck on the flywheel here, so I have to take this off. And I'll try this alcohol, see if that cleans it off, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, I've cleaned off the flywheel here, being careful not to lose these bearing parts. There is some in that groove. I might see if I can get more of that out. And I also cleaned off the capstan since it was removed from the machine. And yeah, that stuff gets everywhere. It's like the consistency of oil paint. And if you're not careful, you get the stuff everywhere. So I cleaned off the motor pulley. I'll clean the heads of the machine since I have it apart. Might as well do it now. And I'll continue on and see if I can get a belt to fit on this thing. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. I have a belt that has the right tension. It's not too tight, not too loose. Make sure it's not twisted. And it seems to work just fine. Of course, I'll have to test the mechanism out. I'll have to put this back together. And I'll hook it up before putting it into the machine. Make sure everything's working before, putting it all back together and finding out there's a problem. And we'll take it from there. Okay, I got a tape in here. The motor says 9 volts on the side of it. You have to be careful. Sometimes in these older machines I might regulate the voltage to the motor on the main board, on the main circuit board. But this one has the internal regulator. So that allows me to hook it right up to the power supply at 9 volts. I also took this little mini amplifier from Radio Shack and hooked it up to one of the tape head outputs so we can hear it. So let's give it a whirl here. Let's see, play. That's a game program to my color computer back from the 1980s. So yeah, this tape's pretty old. It's hard to put it in looking through the camera screen. Let's see here. Fast forward. Got plenty of tension. And whoa, that's record, I think. Don't want to record over. Well, that is a DC, so it would erase what's on there. But I don't think we harmed anything. Okay, this is rewind. We got plenty of tension on rewind. See that stop. And it seems like it's working just fine. I do have to clean it up. I still got grunge all over the keys and stuff, so I'll finish cleaning it up and put the cassette deck back together again. Okay, here it is all assembled. I cleaned it up. I got that sticker goo off the top. There are some other marks and losing a little finish here. I wonder if there's a way to fix that, but I'm not too worried about it. So I got the alkalic juice out of the battery compartment there. That's all nice and working again. Let me give you a little demo here. Okay, give you a little sample. This is American History lecture from high school in 1985.
Remember we talked about the Yalta Conference. And in the Yalta Conference, we said how Churchill, Stalin, and Roosevelt agreed to a number of things. And one of the things they agreed to was that if Russia, if the Soviet Union would enter the war against Japan, then the Soviet Union would be granted some concessions in the Far East.
Okay, we have fast forward, rewind.
The Union would be granted.
I'm kind of hearing a squealing sound. I don't know if that comes over the camera. Let's see. I think it's the take-up reel. See, it's quiet now. But when I grab that take-up reel, it's squealing. Not sure what I can do about that. It doesn't have any more belts in it. It's kind of a friction type operation. I don't know if that requires some sort of lubricant or not. Somebody out there maybe knows more than I do about that, but something that still could use fixing. The radio and everything, I'm not going to go through all that. It works okay. I got to turn it up. Lots of electrical noise.
One out, Sanchez pops up for the third baseman, Jan Sanchez.
I wanna kiss somebody.
New Country, K99.1 FM.
I ain't rich, but I damn sure wanna be.
I don't know if you can hear the effect of stereo wide. Like I say, I'm not crazy about the effect it has on music. Okay, let's try recording here. I'm sure that sound will come through, the squeaking sound, but here goes. I moved to an empty part of the tape so I don't erase the historic lecture, at least to me. Testing 1, 2, 3, testing. Let's try the recording from the radio now.
Jordan Knight with New Country Nights, K99.1 FM. Click open mic on our free radio app to make your favorites play.
Hi, this is Marcia from Jamestown, and I would really...
Let's see what we got here. Let's try the recording from the radio now. Well, a little further back. At least to me. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing. Let's try the recording from the radio now.
Jordan Knight with New Country Nights, K99.1 FM. Click open mic on our free radio app to make your favorites play.
Hi, this is Marcia from...
Seems to record with decent quality. Now let's see how the line-in function works. Alright, I connected my music player to the line-in. I had to use a jumper on one side because I didn't have another adapter. And I recorded a bit from my music player onto the tape. So I rewound the tape, have it queued up, and let's see what it sounds like.
Drive away for me. Time is short, but I have to see if there's anyone else that I can bring, for I've a song to sing. Calliope, drive away a while. There's still hope for those who smile and think a while. But
okay, I don't want to get a copyright strikey thingy, so I better stop that. Sounds really good, really bassy too through the tape. The radio doesn't have a lot of bass like the tape does. That's kind of interesting. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up here and call this fixed, except for that little squeak. That might go away with use. This thing has sat for 25 years unused. So, I don't know, it might need additional service, or just using it might go away. But I would guess it probably needs something done with that. Well, that's it for this. Thanks for watching. Okay, I connected some audio to the line end. Had to do a jumper here because I didn't have another connector to match it up. And I don't know what I'm talking about, so I'll try it again.